Good morning everybody, I am largely unemployed and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Now, in the previous episode, we went ahead and put a little satellite in orbit of the moon, which got us plenty of delicious science. That's right, we now have 324.9 science, 325 to round it up, and 740 funds, which is, 40,000 rather, funds, which is pretty damn awesome. So let us dive into our research and development facility and begin looking at expanding our science. So we are definitely going to want to get the miniaturization tree because that unlocks the satellite contracts, which we are going to be in need of to get our state funding back up to scratch. You know, we got about 100 days before the state decides to crap on us, and we are getting fined pretty hard right now. We want to make that a positive balance. So I think we should also go ahead and take on the electronics tab, the electrics tab, and that will allow us the RPWS antenna, which would be fantastic. This is another science experiment that is, I think, usable only in orbit. Yeah, there we go. Deploy and use while in low to high orbit. Sorry, hiccup. Yeah, which would be fantastic. We also get access to a larger communication dish for larger craft, as well as a significantly, oh, I can't unclick, there we go, significantly larger relay antenna, as well as a fuel cell array, and a collapsible communicatron, which is a freaking fantastic antenna. So I'm going to push for that. Then, with the remaining 144 science we have, I think we're going to go ahead, right, and get ourselves, I'm very tempted to get the aerodynamics tab. Not so much for the parts, we don't really need, aeroplane tail fins, we're not going to build anything that big just yet, but more for the crew cabins, the inline cockpit and the crew cabins, because those will allow us, let me just look at our other options. What is this? Solar particle collector, that would be pretty damn cool. I'm guessing that this needs to be in orbit. Yeah. That's damn cool though. Yeah, see, we've got a lot of science we could potentially get. We've got the mallet to build things off planet, which is pretty damn cool. Survey stakes and whatnot. An engineering text bay. Ooh, cardboard box stuffed with science. Nice. Did we get any of those, these new little experiments? Oh, we got one here. Materials study mini lab. Cardboard box stuffed with science. I'm guessing that gives us the materials bay. Study right over there. That's cool. We could also, of course, push for advanced flight control, which will give us access to large heat shields, which we don't need at present, but the Mark 1 lander can, which would be pretty damn awesome, because we can also stick that in line. Tempting. What do we go for? I really would like these heavy rocketry systems, but I think for now, we're going to go with the Mark 1 crew cabin. Yeah, we're still stuck on small objects. We haven't really got the money. We could do an upgrade of our tracking station and mission control. Spend some money there. And maybe the launch pad as well. You know what? Yeah, let's push for that. It's about damn time. We're going to do the tracking station, level up, launch pad, level up, mission control, level up. We will get the vehicle assembly building soon as we can afford it. But for now, there we go. That gives us a pretty decent boost, because now we have patched conics, which, for example, if I hop into this craft right over here, you will notice that my orbit looks very different to what it has in previous episodes. It is now a blue line, that's right, and we can create maneuver nodes, so we can plan our trajectories and, more efficiently use fuel and things. It's going to be great. We're going to be the gods of science with this. It's going to be amazing. But I think for now, let's go back to the Space Center and work out what new contracts we're going to take on with our new delicious 7 contract limits that our new mission control affords us. By the way, you need to upgrade both the tracking station and mission control in order to get patch conics. So, kick off space tourism. Yeah, we could do this. We could take a couple tourists. That'll make us 60,000 bucks, which will put us into 250, then 200,000 more to go, and we've got the, then we've got what we need, which is going to be cool. Explore Kerbal. Rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of Kerbal. That's doable. We'll stash that on the side for now. That doesn't expire, does it? Only in a year. That's good. We can wait on that one. On the Mun, do we have to be on the surface? Yeah, landed. That's a lot of money. That would be an interesting thing to push for. Midland craters, lowlands, mountains, canyons, far side crater, Midlands, northern basin. Okay, so we could perhaps build a mun hopper craft. That could be pretty damn cool. So See, this geological survey doesn't fetch us enough cashola to be worth it. Maybe we'll accept the Kerbal Academy. That's going to cost us a lot of money, but it will get Valentina better. To be a better pilot, that is. Yeah, screw it. Why not, right? Let's try that. So let's hop out of this and head back in here. And let's pick up our Antilles 2 craft, I believe was the most powerful manned vehicle we've made so far. There we go. Alright, that looks a bit jank, doesn't it? And we've got, what's that, 28 parts? But we have much bigger engines now, much better engines now. So we can perhaps more efficiently do this. Let's pull off this Reliance stage, right? Take away that Reliance. We can slap a Terrier on the bottom here, maybe. Or actually, tell you what, we'll do. We'll throw off these things, put on another large stage, boom, and just throw on a goddamn swivel. There you go. That should afford us some pretty insane delta V. We got 1.25. Okay, our thrust to weight ratio is above 0, which is important. Then we're going to throw away that entire piece there because it's just stupid. And we're going to throw on the Terrier engine, the brand new one we just got. Oh, didn't clip. Voila. Voila. Okay, let's just fix up our staging here. So we're going to fire that engine. Then we're going to want to decouple the stage here, right? So yeah, that gets pulled down. Perfect. Then that engine fires. Then that decouples. Then that engine fires. And that decouples. And then we plummet fearlessly back down towards Kerbal. Okay, cool. Also, now that we've got satellite network, we won't need that fancy antenna. We can get away with a simple little bar antenna right there. Perfect, and that gives us another 6 parts to work with. Now, I want to get maximum delta V. We have quite a bit. We have a much higher weight limit. It was 18 tons, now it's 140. So we can actually, with 6 parts, yeah, we could totally go ahead and slap on some boosters here on the sides, just to give this craft a little bit more oomph. So let's throw on, yeah, the thumper. Why the hell not? Perfect. Let's just scale that down. Not scale down, sorry, drag that down. There we go. Looking very spacey. And let's just give it some aerodynamic abilities. Do we have any large nose cones? No, just the small ones. Okay, just the nipple caps. There we go. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take Antilles 2 here and put that, and let's get Valentina all trained up in sex. Yeah, so let's get Valentina all trained up and ready to go. So we're going to call this as Antilles 3 because it is, of course, an upgraded version of the 2. And Vantila is in. She's ready to go. We're going to save that and hit launch. Ooh. And here we have the Antilles 3 resting upon our brand new launch pad, significantly cooler looking than that scrap of dirt that we had previously. Now this rocket is got no struts on it, so it's going to be interesting. It will be interesting to see if it does not tear itself apart. So we're going to hit F5 for a quick save, just in case. And yeah, we need to keep this orbital inclination below 5 degrees. There we go, to get this first part of it, reach an equatorial orbit, and then we need to move to an inclined orbit, which we can totally do. So, 3, 2, 1. Boom, and there go our solid rocket boosters, just slowly lifting us off the launch pad, and we are still aerodynamically stable. Perfect. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that this craft will not remain aerodynamically stable once it's actually, you know, really moving. So we're gonna start our turn now, so that when we ditch those boosters, they flow away harmlessly. And also, we're gonna fire that engine at the same time we ditch those boosters. I think that's a good way to ensure we get a decent clearance. In fact, actually, why don't we just fire that engine right now? There we go. Okay, engine is going, and that'll just ensure that as soon as we separate, we will have a clean separation from those large rockets. Oh, essentially just death sticks that are stuck to the side of us. Perfect. Beautiful. Now, as you can see, we're getting a bit of a wobble here, and that is because, for whatever reason, Auto Strut, which is the built-in strutting system of the game, isn't working, and so I'm going to have to go ahead and use actual struts as parts, but we can't do that till we upgrade ourselves past the ridiculously low 30-part limit that the first level of the VAB prescribes. Okay, pushing our apoapsis up now. We want to get to 70Ks as always. And we're going to see if we can't do that while attaining a nice, tight orbital inclination. We want to stay on that 90-degree vector, because our inclination at present is 3.2 and going up. No, so we want to pull that down. There we go, bring it down, 2.8, 2.4, 2.3. You can see where my mouse cursor is. I'm just indicating the Kerbal Engineer readout for that. There we go. Let's pull that down. Let's pull that down. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, we are below 1 degree inclination. That's fine. We'll stay there. Oh, bit of a swivel. Let's actually hit prograde. And that will pull our engine. There we go. In line. Beautiful. Just there. Very nice flying Valentina. And of course, once she levels up, we'll have access to the normal, anti-normal, and radial, anti-radial sort of, velocity vector icons there, which make it a lot easier to pick everything up and aim in those directions rigidly, not without having to spam the WASD keys in order to maintain your attitude. Okay, let's ditch that stage, and 3, 2, 1, fire up second stage. Perfect. Now that is not, of course, authentic. You would normally wait quite a bit to fire up your second stage, but let's push our apoapsis up above 75, 74. There we go. We're going to call it safe there and allow ourselves to drip up and out of the atmosphere. Perfect. Oh, actually, I think at this height we could probably pop out. Can't disembark while off the surface. Need asteroid complex upgrade. Oh, I forgot to upgrade all of our buildings. Getting off that first tier is bloody difficult in hard difficulty. Alright, there we go. Now we have reached orbit. Oh, well, outside of the atmosphere, rather. We need to push for orbit. So we're going to fire our rocket and just head straight down. Let me just disable this pushing towards that prograde. There we go. We want to head straight down just to bring our velocity vector in line with the horizon. Perfect. And let's just check our attitude. Looking good. Attitude is, of course, the direction in which your craft is pointing. Right now our heading is 91 degrees. That is along the horizontal axis, which would, normally look like that, to be honest. And your attitude is the basic, I think it's your pitch. Or is that the angle of attack? I can never remember these things. Ignore me. Ignore me. I am but a noob playing this game. I gotta say, there are a lot of, actual scientists that play this that you should go and watch, who are very good at their jobs, and also Kerbal Space Program. It's pretty cool. So let's flip all the way back over to prograde, and push ourselves into that straight orbit. Actually, you know what? We're gonna ditch this stage here, because it will eventually fall back into the atmosphere, and that's super cool, and we want that to happen. So there we go, apoapsis and periapsis above, and boom, we have achieved that option. So now we need to move into an inclined orbit by burning normal or anti-normal. So in order to do that, of course, we want to go ahead and find our descending node, which won't be present until we can see, can we perhaps set, let's set these guys here as our target. There we go, and it'll show us our descending node. That is the relative inclination with regards to that target. But we don't need that, so now we know our ascending node is over here, or at least with regards to that target. But the normal, anti-normal is usually, there we go, dead center in your orbit. So now if we were to pull this, as you can see, voila, and we just of course want to tighten up that orbit a bit, we don't want it to go too far. Perhaps it would be better to do this at periapsis. We can just get a straight inclination without any real velocity change. Perfect. Oh, a little bit of velocity change there. But we want that orbit to be at 45 degrees. That looks pretty 45 to me. I don't know if that's 90, right? Let's go a bit more maybe, just to be safe. There we go. Does it have to be exactly 45? Above 45. Okay, we're just going to spam it up then. There we go. And we just want to keep that orbit tight. We don't want to be kicking ourselves out into the solar system. And that's going to cost us 2,247 meters per second of delta V. We have 2,076. Okay, so that's no good. We're gonna have to tighten that up a bit. We want at least 200 meters per second left so that we can fall safely back to Kerbin. So if we just push this up, right, without correcting our distance there, is that above 45? I don't think so. That looks like it's above 45. All right, there we go. I've managed to find us a maneuver that is within the realm of sanity, which is quite nice. So we're going to go ahead and point ourselves in the direction of that maneuver, and that will, of course, enlarge our normal vector. I can't remember what it's called. We're gonna increase our inclination quite substantially, which will be pretty damn good. Okay, now we need to begin this burn. I have better burn time mod installed, which is pretty damn awesome. And fire now. There we go. Once all those blocks tick down. If your burn is, 100 seconds, you want to split that evenly across both halves of the countdown. So you're 50 seconds before the burn, ending 50 seconds after you reach the maneuver node point. Or that point in your orbit in which you begin to change your vectors. Okay, cool. So we're just going to burn off the total velocity there. We have 1,740 so remaining, and our burn is going to cost us 1,400. So we'll have 300 meters per second, which will be more than enough to put us back into a safe landing trajectory to come home. Okay, so we're just going to speed through this burn because it's pretty straightforward. You guys have seen this 1,000 times. We're just going to fire that little rocket motor and keep ourselves getting inclination is rising rapidly. There we go. We are at 45. That should actually complete the contract. Yes, it did. Nice. Valentina Kerman is already feeling more experienced. So now we should be able to just land her back and we'll get the experience, I think. Hopefully that mod works and we didn't just burn through 7,500 funds for no reason. Let's see if we can't get ourselves to land near the KSC though, just to get a bit more funding back. Okay, yeah, a couple more orbits and we'll make it. How are we doing for life support? That's always a very real concern, isn't it? Life support, life support. I'm not seeing my life support. Is it broken? Huh, well it would appear that life support is broken. That's a bit odd. It's not showing up. I'm going to have to do some investigation and see why we can't see... Oh, there we go, it's on the map view. Okay, we still got 2 days worth of life support, so we can afford to warp around a bit more. And oh, we're almost there. I think we might overshoot if we wait any longer. So let's hit our retrograde vector and then just fire. Just fire. Burn ourselves up. Bring ourselves back into the atmosphere in a glorious ball of glory. Very cool. Okay, now I think that this will probably be one of our last episodes done in live mode, as it were, because from this point onwards, these missions are going to start getting really, really long, and I will of course do my live commentary over the original footage, and then just sort of, you know, bring you guys in with future me in order to explain what the hell's going on half the time. We're also going to enable this thing. We're going to open up those doors because that just provides us a little bit of a sort of steerable surface. We could use those as little wings, basically. It's kind of completely defeats the purpose of protecting the sensitive instruments inside there, but they should be just outside of the plasma trail of that velocity vector. There you go. All right, so let's coming in very nicely here over the water. Now I'm not going to risk it again, so we're just going to spam speed, and then at 4,000 k's above sea level, we are going to open our chutes right there. And that should keep us relatively safe. Let's just watch this happen. Please happen. Please happen. Oh god, please happen faster. Please happen faster. Please happen faster. Oh. Oh, it's so terrifying. Oh, these parachutes are so shit. We need better ones. Oh, it turns out I had science equipment in here that I didn't know about. Whoops, probably should have checked that. Didn't need to bring that along. Oh, well, it's fine. Didn't affect us adversely in the slightest. Ooh, rather a hard landing there into the water, but that's okay. Have we got all this information? Yeah, we do, don't we? Crew reports, yeah, we'll keep that, sure. Let's EVA, shall we? Let's hop out. Boop. And let's have a look here. Yeah, we'll keep that. That's cool. It's another whole science for us. That's nice. That basically pays for our life support that we got the previous episode for no reason. Yeah, we don't really need to put life support modules on there just yet. Maybe we will for the tourist. In fact, that's what we're going to be doing right now, is pushing for our tourists. There we go. Valentina Kerman is now a level 2 Kerbal, which is pretty damn awesome. What is all this? Oh, those are our boosters. They must have landed over there. I guess the aerodynamic tops just survived, which is fine. Okay, that cost us a lot of money. That was an expensive, and that cost us 90,000 credits. So we need to make that money back now. I'm sure you guys agree. So we've accepted the space tourism contract. We're just gonna basically launch the same rocket, maybe with a few modifications. I'll bring you guys back once those have been made. And here we have the stubby looking Antilles 4 rocket sitting on the launch pad. It is not exactly what you'd call conventional, but it will definitely get the job done. We have the passenger crew cabin right over here, who currently contains one of our Kerbals, just to get a bit of experience in them. I think it's the scientist, Bob Kerman. Or is it Bill Kerman? No, it's Bob Kerman. He's the scientist. Bill's the engineer. We also have our inline command capsule for the the pilots, of course, who is Valentina, as we have murdered Jebediah heartlessly in episode 3, I think it was. We also here have, of course, our life support capsules. We have a waste storage container and a regular life support container. That's got all the sort of food, water, and oxygen they will need. And that's about it. We've got a larger parachute, a big old battery, a solar panel, and yeah, then the standard Antilles launch system right here on the bottom, hence why it still bears the Antilles name, despite being quite different in appearance. So let us bring back our HUD, and pressing F2, by the way, does that. And we can go ahead and load our passengers. There we go. So now we have Taito and Bob Kerman in there. We're going to turn on the lights in here, turn on the lights in there, and that's looking pretty smexy. Now, there's no particular goal for this. We just have to get to orbit and stay there for 4 hours. Excuse me, for 4 hours. Hence the need for the life support modules. All right, so in 3, 2, 1... boom, we are off. Very cool, very smexy. And yeah, we're going to again, of course, be firing our Reliant rocket motor before we separate the solid rocket fuel boosters. And that is just simply because we're going to get a little bit more clearance once they fall away than we would otherwise. So we can begin our gravity turn right about now. We have significantly more thrust to weight ratio than we usually have because we've ditched that interleading stage just so it's not too tall. We don't need the delta V we had previously. That was to do those inclination changes in orbit, which ultimately turned out to be a bit unnecessary. And as you can see here, Valentina has pimped out her skills a bit, and so we now have significantly more, or 4 more, sort of, directional things we can play with. There we go. Let's ditch those. Thank you very much. And let's tilt over, I think at about 15,000 Ks, we're going to, bit of wobble. We're going to tilt all the way over to the horizon. And that should just punch us. I think actually, the 90-degree mark is perfectly fine. Let's just line up our orientation so that when we tilt east, we will head along that vector. I like to do 0 inclination orbits. It makes landing back at or landing close to the KSC, rather attempting to land close to the KSC, a hell of a lot easier. Okay, continually banking this way, continually banking that way. We're making it work. We're making it work. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So, keep it pointing at the 90. Keep flowing on up. We're going to rotate our craft slightly just so that our tourists have a better view of the curvature of Kerbal, which is, of course, nothing to do with Earth, which is flat, as we all are well aware. And there's a giant turtle that carries it, for it rests upon the backs of 4 great elephants. And this is all science, and it's very important, and you guys should be teaching this in schools if you're not. So, to any teachers listening, that one goes out to you. Flat Earth theory is real. Wake up, sheeple. Get it together. Whew, that was cringy, wasn't it? Anyway, let's focus on the pseudoscience of Kerbal Space Program for a little bit longer. We're technically classified, I think, as an aircraft here because we've got the aircraft capsules, but this is fine. It's fine. It all works. It'll do the trick. We're going to point ourselves completely prograde and hit that fire button. There we go, pushing our orbit all the way along. Let's just come back here for the staging. Goodbye stage, firing again. We are, of course, doing this at 4 times physics acceleration, just to make it go through a bit faster. You've seen the orbiter chained several times before now, so there's nothing new to you. We can rotate so that they can get a cool view of the underside of Kerbal. And we are in orbit. Perfect. So now we just wait. Periapsis above? Is it not? Oh, there we go. Periapsis above 7,500. And Periapsis is above. Very nice. There we go. We now just float. We just float peacefully. So we can have a look at Valentina's view. Absolutely stunning. This glass is worryingly cracked. Scratched? Cracked? What are we going with here? Not great. Either way, we're going to rotate ourselves over so that our passengers have the best possible view. And we can see what they can see. Oh, space on one side. The glory of Kerbal on the other. Let's continue to rotate that. I'd like to get them a little bit... There we go, a little bit of the curvature. Oh, isn't that just sexy? Oh, it's so sexy. In fact, we're going to put a slight rotation on this craft and not fix it. There we go. Let's hide our HUD. God, space is pretty. Do you ever look out at it and just think how small we are compared to everything else out there? How sometimes we're nothing but specks of dust and the universe just doesn't mind. And there's something beautiful in that, isn't there? Because if it all means nothing, then it can all mean everything too. The universe is what you make it. The universe is yours to take. Anyway, there's our orbit. We're floating on through, looking absolutely stunning, gently rotating through the skies. Let's go ahead and deploy our solar panel there. Anyway, here we are coming back towards the KSC now, just burning our engines retrograde, bringing that velocity vector right back down. Unfortunately, this is happening in the dark, I'm afraid. My apologies for that. It wasn't intentional. It's just, unfortunately, we were running out of electric charge and I had to fire up those engines. Otherwise, all my musings would have been for naught and everyone would have died again. So we're going to allow ourselves to drift back down towards the atmosphere now. We got quite high up, actually. Our apoapsis was ludicrously high above Kerbal. And there we go. We're going to just retract our solar panel before we lose it. Very nice, very nice. Just like that. In fact, actually, let's point ourselves retrograde. That should help our stability, having that ability, thanks to Valentina. Very easy to achieve. So now, how close are we to the KSC? Have we overshot it? We have already. So let's fire up our engines. It's quite difficult to see that at night. There we go, firing up our engines, just trying to stay stable. This kind of altitude is not easy. We're going to use our engine as a heat shield on the way back in, because I do not think we're going to have enough drag as it is to stop ourselves. Let's see if we can't ditch that stage. There we go. And instead use... Oh, shit. No, we're getting some drag. We're getting some drag. Oh, okay, okay. If we just... We gotta spin this. This is too aerodynamically stable. It flipped itself over. We have a center of lift. These aerodynamic parts acting as a lifting body. And, but looks like we're gonna survive. Looks like we're gonna survive. Okay. No one lost consciousness. No one lost consciousness. Okay, there we go. No one blacked out. We're totally cool. So let's look at ditching those drogue chutes. Pulling them, just pulling ourselves subsonic. Oh, perfect, just like that. And we're landing as the sun creeps over the horizon, which is absolutely beautiful. It really is. It is always such a gem. Oh god, Kerbal is one pretty planet. I mean Earth, right? I mean Kerbal? I don't know. It's all beautiful, really. There we go, deploying that parachute, coasting on gently, gently, gently down towards the water. We could jettison our heat shield here, but I think I'm going to leave it attached just simply because it will give us just that much more impact protection once we touch down on the water's surface. Okay, our scientist has leveled up, our pilot is still level 2, and our tourist has gained a level as well for entering orbit. Not that we can use him for anything, unfortunately. Let's just coast on down 20 meters away from the surface and touch down nice and gently into the water. Beautiful. Okay, and there we sit. Let's just flop ourselves over. Bloop. Very nice, very nice. And Valentina's going to come out for a celebratory swim. Look at her go. Taking off her helmet, just taking a stroll around the place. What a badass, I tell you. Now can we get back on here? Grab it and climb. There we go. That's my girl. Grab, grab, grab on. And board. Okay. Thank you, Valentina, for joining in. Let's just put up our solar panel while we wait for the rescue ships to come and get us. And I think with that, we are going to call this an episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I absolutely loved recording it. I will see you in the next one. Hit that subscribe button to see more. Hit that like button if you loved it, and that dislike button if you didn't. Feedback is always appreciated. Cheers.